What's up, guys? This is BK here. I'll be your host today. I'm from the Let's Get It podcast. Joining me today, we have Jane Teoh, the crowned Miss Malaysia in 2018, also a representative for our country at the 2018 Miss Universe Malaysia, a model, and also influencer. So, for today's discussion, in conjunction with Suria KLCC, in an attempt to promote Mental Health Awareness Month, we will be covering the topic of cyberbullying, discrimination against expatriate and foreign workers. Let me ask you something, Jane.
Yes.
Where do you think Malaysia is on the list of worst countries for cyberbullying?
So the last I checked, Malaysia was ranked second in Asia and fifth globally. The worst cases in cyberbullying. Yes.
Yes, yeah, similar to what I've seen also. It's not a good thing, not something that us Malaysians should be proud of, right? And since the topic today, we're talking about discrimination against foreign workers and immigrants. We're actually at KLCC Suria right now, recording. As I've heard, as I've seen on social media these days, right?
Yes.
Sometimes during public holidays, there is a lot of foreign workers, immigrants who live in Malaysia with their families, a lot of them, perhaps they're from a lot of Bangladeshis come over to KLCC just to spend time with their family, hang out. Yeah, and we've got netizens, Malaysians, calling KLCC right now Bangladesh, okay, which is Malaysia but Bangladesh. That's not very nice. Um, I where does this sort of discrimination actually stem from? Like the nature of like cyberbullying. I think a lot of it has to do with the stereotype of these immigrant workers, right, from other country. Perhaps they think that, oh, they are not as educated, or they come from a country that is not as developed as ourselves. Either ways, I think it's something that we
We
as
should
Malaysia,
address, right?
yeah.
Mm, well, I personally think we're all too quick to judge. That's one thing.
Yep.
And secondly, don't you think that we shouldn't have this perception in us? Because
100%.
honestly, there's so many foreign workers in our country,
Yes.
and it's very hard to deny that they are the people who make up a very big part of our workforce. So why do we want to discriminate them? And and honestly, right, they're all humans like us,
Yes.
and I think they deserve some respect.
Oh,
It's not
definitely.
fair to call them whatever names, or come up with any contents that
Can we say the
are
word
disrespectful.
pendatang? Yeah,
Yes, yes, that is so bad, right?
yeah.
And if you think about it, right, if it's us
Mm,
going to say Singapore,
mm.
the nearest,
Uh-huh.
it's just an example.
Okay, sure,
And
sure.
think about it, like if we get discriminated in Singapore,
Yeah.
like there are contents like that online
Like
about
people saying,
Malaysians.
yeah,
Won't you feel the same?
definitely. So let's talk about people who are from, let's say, Bangladesh, right? Okay, probably the most the first nationality that comes to mind when we think about immigrant workers, right? They are very very hardworking people.
Exactly.
Yeah, they come over here in hopes to find better opportunity, right? Perhaps they have a better pay over here. Okay, they have a family back home, or maybe they have their family with them over here, or they start a family over here once they get here.
And
I've
they deserve a break, right? During our holidays and everything, public holidays especially. And look at the fountain there. It's a nice place to hang out, right? And why can't they enjoy it as well, right?
Yes.
They contribute as much as we do for the country, isn't it?
Yes, so let's look at it this way, lah. They are appreciating our architecture here in
Exactly.
Malaysia, right? KLCC, one of the also popular tourist spots. If tourists from other countries can come over here and contribute to our to tourism, right, over here, why can't people from Bangladesh do the same? We'll try and highlight foreign workers in Malaysia, and one particular profession that I think is very prone and vulnerable to this online discrimination is content creators, foreign content creators. Okay, they get bashed in
Bash.
the comments, with hate, like saying like if you don't like this, okay, this is the most common one. If you don't like,
Leave the country.
yes, leave the country. Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, what what effects can that have on that particular content creator?
I would think that content creators are subjected to this a lot,
Very much so.
and I think again, right, we're too quick to judge, and and yes, they'll feel bad, but at the same time, I do think that everybody needs to practice some empathy towards each other. That's the main thing that we need to educate ourselves about about all of these issues. Like, think about think from each other's perspectives.
Yeah.
Like, this is
The understanding.
exactly, and this. I mean, if you think about it, right, they're appreciating our culture.
Oh, very much so.
So why are we so petty
Yes.
that you say something like this?
I think petty is a very accurate word. Okay.
Yes.
But I feel like the reason why they can say that easily to the
Because
foreign.
they're foreigners, right?
Yes, it's like sort of the lowest hanging fruit, That's what I think happens. Someone who is petty, and they don't really have really good control of their emotions, so they leave a bad comment, say that we don't need you in our country, get out if you don't appreciate our stuff like that.
From another perspective, right?
Yep.
Sometimes all of this happen because it's easy to leave all these comments, these bad comments about everyone, because you can go anonymous online. And,
Yes.
and you won't be held accountable for whatever you do online. That is the main problem here.
So it's interesting because good point that you mentioned, online is the keyword, okay, because they are anonymous. I spoke to some of these foreign content creators. I think it was Ryan or Mark, or maybe both of them.
Yeah.
What they told me, right, interesting enough, is that they do not receive the same sort of hate in person at all.
Exactly.
Like, close to zero, if I remember correctly.
Like,
close
you
to
won't
zero.
say things like that in anyone else's face, right? Like, say for example, I don't like that mole on your face. Like, you won't say it in your face, right?
I'm very conscious about the mole now on my face.
No, it's just an example. Like, you won't say it in people's face, and
Yeah.
online platforms
Because-
give you that avenue to say things that you think you don't like without having to face whatever that you have to face physically when you say things that when you voice out your opinion.
There are repercussions for saying things that you don't like about someone to their face, about insulting someone.
Exactly. You might be hit right in the face.
Yes, you could just get punched, slapped.
So on online platforms you don't get all this. So that's why people are more bold online, and they just say whatever they want. And it needs to be regulated at some point. Don't you think so?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, specifically for to protect our foreign workers living in this country legally. Don't
Everyone,
forget that.
actually.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
definitely.
To protect everyone.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, all these problems, right? All this discrimination, everything, it is very much rooted by everyone's opinions about each other.
Yes.
That everybody just has too much opinions these days, don't you think so?
Yeah.
It's not even too many, it's too much.
Too much. I guess also sometimes, because of that, I try not to spend too much time on social media.
Yes.
Right? Because maybe another person's opinion isn't too important to me.
Same, same.
Yeah, and with the existence of social media, everyone's opinions is out there for
Yes.
everyone to hear, even though you're not interested in hearing it. So what do you think cyberbullying does, right, to our nation's perception of foreign workers here?
Even worse, no?
Yeah.
We already think bad of them in
Not me.
some ways. No, I mean,
Yeah, I'm kidding.
you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Like, you would think you wouldn't sit down and talk to them. Let's just put it that way. There's certain you would keep them at arm's length.
I think what you're trying to say is, right, because that we we can actually visibly see all this online hate going to these people, right? Sometimes it might just be like a snowball or domino effect where it's easier for that person to just join in the party. Like, hey, I don't like. Hey, this guy is throwing hate because the guy doesn't like nasi lemak. Guess what? I think nasi lemak is awesome, so I'm gonna throw hate as well. Get on the bandwagon of hate, lah.
Yeah.
I think it's a downhill. It could be a downhill spiral. It's something that will only get worse and worse if proper measures are not taken.
Yes.
Progressive measures and regulations are not taken to try and fight this. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Now let's talk a bit about how we can tackle cyberbullying and discrimination. I think it's really important to have respect both online and offline. Regardless of someone's nationality, race, job. Understanding is the key to a lot of these things. So Jane, like for example, do you look at someone with a different nationality or race any different?
No, honestly, I don't look at anyone any differently. Like we're all humans, and
I agree with you.
honestly, right? Here's my personal story, lah.
Please.
When I was younger, when I was still competing for Miss Universe, I mean, let's not even talk about foreign workers. When you're just out there, when you put yourself out there, right? I get comments like, "Why is she representing Malaysia?"
Oh, okay, because they expect a Malay person, is it?
Yes, and then they'll say things like, "You're not Malaysian enough." But to me, right, it's not fair. I grew up here.
Yeah.
I
Your parents grew up here.
Exactly. I was born and bred here, and I speak Malay. I know whatever they're saying about me online. So what makes me less Malaysian?
Maybe they want you to speak Malay all the time. Okay.
No, it's not just about that. It's like again, right? Everybody just has too much opinions, and think about it, right? Now you're a foreign worker in here. That's
Yeah.
even worse, right?
Definitely. You came here to try and better yourself, find better opportunities, and then you're getting this sort of setbacks from other people. I think it's that's why it's very essential that you need to develop a thick skin to actually just avoid immune. But unfortunately, right, I think it's true what you said, man. This is not. It's not the same sort of reception that foreign workers would get in other countries.
Yes.
In Malaysia, there's a reason why there's a reason why we are on that list, lah. Yeah. What are some of the solutions that you can think of to combat all these discriminatory comments, cyberbullying?
Well,
Perhaps using the platform that you have, right?
there are a few actually. So what I'm doing right now, right, with my anti-cyberbullying campaign, so we're working with Ministry of Communications Malaysia and Celcom DG. So we're working with them to raise awareness about cyberbullying. That's one thing. And also, if all of you haven't known yet, our government is actually looking to criminalize this. Cyberbullying is going to be a crime in
Yeah.
Malaysia. That is one measure the country is taking to protect all of us. And that is some progress, right? Because when I started out, right, when I started my anti-cyberbullying campaign, it was
When was
just
this? Sorry, when was this?
when like my
Yeah,
campaign.
the campaign. Yeah.
I started in 2018.
Okay. Wow.
So it's been 6 years. They are talking about it since 6 years ago, and now we're finally seeing some progress, and it's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think moving forward, we won't have to. It's a measure for content creators, one thing, and also now you can report it. You can go to the police and say, "Hey, this is happening to me. What can I do about it?" And it will be taken seriously.
So previously, I think you could report it. Perhaps now there's just a
Proper procedure
Yeah.
to run through, and it will be escalated more quickly.
Okay, it's a more effective way of
Yes,
getting the case down. Lah.
exactly. And people are more aware about it now.
yeah.
So it's a good thing.
I think something important to note also, it was because of the recent cyberbullying case from Esha, the TikToker.
Yes,
right?
she killed herself.
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah. And after that, that's probably why the Ministry of Communications has decided they have to do something about it, lah. There was a fine that was given to her, but do you remember how much it was?
Yeah, that was it. And then you cannot bring her back. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. So the fine was just 100 ringgit, right? It was so little, but still, it's just not enough. Like, no matter what the amount is, right? How can you compare that to someone's
Alive,
life?
right?
Yeah. So I think because of that, lah, like that our government is actually trying to be more hands on in trying to solve the situation, tackle it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a great thing,
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about social media platforms and their role in restricting comments and having proper punishments?
I'm not sure if you are on this Chinese platform.
What's
It's
it called?
小红书.
Is that Instagram?
Chinese Instagram.
Yeah, Chinese Instagram, right? I just heard it.
It's 小红书. So
Yeah.
so I think they're doing a good job regulating,
How so?
because there are certain words that it won't appear on that platform, and there are certain contents that would be banned on that platform.
Oh, for example?
So you won't see too much revealing contents. That's one thing.
I see.
You know, some just about anything, like you won't be able to see anything like
I guess it's similar to their Douyin, right? Where they how do I say this?
inappropriate contents.
Yes, they and also they reward educative content.
Yes.
Right? It's sort of
Yes.
encouraging.
I think
yeah.
that's a great measure.
Of course. Yeah. So for me, right, I'm talking about how we can tackle this issue. I also believe that speaking up is the number one thing. Being vocal, especially for those who has a presence online, right? An influencer who has a wider social media presence, your voice matters even more. Campaigns can be done, like yourself. The more people that speak about it, the better.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, right, just for the individual person, right, try and open your mind a bit, get to know maybe some of these foreign workers, have a chat with them. I think that's the best way to actually connect with someone, right? It doesn't have to take much of your time, but then you'll quickly realize that they are not too different than yourself,
They are the hardest workers.
Oh, definitely.
Really. I mean, if you look at them, right, you're like, this person comes from such a far away country
Yeah.
just to come here and work to provide for their families.
Yeah.
That is something that is very
Admirable.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it's not fair for us to just think badly about them.
I think it's childish.
Exactly.
I think it's childish
exactly.
to actually
to
discriminate someone.
To me, I always tell people, if you don't have anything nice to say,
Don't
just
say it at
don't
all.
say anything.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself.
Yes, social media has definitely made me more aware of that, lah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're almost at the end of this episode. Let me just recap the importance of fighting digital discrimination and treating foreign workers with mutual respect. It's not a good look for our country. Our people, the name of our country. Malaysia, unfortunately, has appeared on several lists of countries with worst cyberbullying cases, right? Many times. And I hope in the future that we're going to see less of that. And
It reflects so badly about us.
so badly. Hopefully we'll see it no more. Okay, that we don't have to appear on any more lists. Yeah. People should also remember, like, there's more than meets the eye, like what I mentioned before. Get to know the person, and then you might just find some common interests. Give these people a chance and have an open mind. Treat them as how you would like to be treated. And us Malaysians, I feel that we can all do much better. Yeah. So let's do our best. And Jane, any final words?
Yes, mutual respect is very important. And yes, I think we really should appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Give it up for Jane Teoh, and I'm your host BK from the Let's Get It podcast. See you guys.